digital marketing for HVAC and home service businesses.
Strategies and stories from industry experts to help you succeed.
Welcome to the show, the OutWork'em podcast. My name is Ryan Kearney, your host. Today I'm here with owner-operator of Desert Pool Tech, John Hinton. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man.
Oh, no problem. I want to actually shine the light on you just from Jump Street here. Newly crowned Best of in the Valley. Pool cleaning and service is the category I believe you won. Is that correct?
Yep, that's right. Pool service. Yeah.
Awesome. Is this the first year you were a nominee for that, or
This is the fifth year in a row that we've won it. So it's
fifth year in a
pretty
row
crazy.
that you won?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
we've
wow.
won it 5 years in a row now.
Awesome. I see a lot of people that have the badge, and sometimes the badge is just for the nominee. I didn't do enough due diligence before the podcast to know you won 5 years in a row. That's quite the accomplishment.
Yeah, the nominee thing is just kind of a marketing deal that Best of the Valley will sell, that you can get that badge and post it, and that's them kind of asking for votes and stuff. But no, the actual winner's badge is only given out to the winners, right?
Okay.
Like anything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, we're pretty proud of it. It's been a fun ride.
That's epic. Well, so 5 years running. When we talked about scheduling the podcast, we wanted to wait until we knew how things played out with that to be able to celebrate that together if possible. And glad it all came together. So I like to start off the podcast sometimes telling a story, and there's a couple ways we can go. It's really popular for the how you got started story. And because we are 5 years running Best of the Valley, I don't feel like there's a whole lot more credibility that could be built in. I mean, 5 years in a row. So I want to jump straight into something that's usually a little bit more comical and entertaining. I feel like every business or entrepreneur has a horror story or something they had to overcome that is quite the tale early in their journey. So biggest challenge you faced when getting started, if you can weave that into a story or if any specific circumstance comes to mind, would love to hear about that. And sometimes that weaves right into how you got started. So I'll leave it to you from here a little bit.
Honestly, I was looking at that and I was trying to think what is the horror story that I think I would go with is reliable vehicles.
Okay.
In the beginning, dude, I started with a Jeep Wrangler and a trailer. And that Jeep, I still have it to this day. That thing left me stranded so many times, man. Paradise Valley, Fountain Hills, North Scottsdale, like everywhere, where I would be just broke down on the side of the road and just, trying to motivate myself not to quit and get out and clean the pool and call a tow truck, all the stuff that needs to happen to get back on the road, but I'd say that. I do remember one time early in the beginning. So in pool construction, like sometimes the pool is at a higher level than the pool equipment. So the water level is above the pool equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, when you do certain things on the equipment, like you could drain the whole pool out, right? Because the weight of the water comes out through the plumbing. I remember one time in the beginning, very, very early, I was in Fountain Hills and there was a really high-end property I was at, and I didn't do some equipment adjustments properly. I opened the pump and this geyser, started coming out, the water from the pool, right? The pool's just draining down. I'm in an enclosed room. That's the equipment room that's literally filling up with water.
Wow.
And that was really kind of a panic mode. I remember I was like, there's no running from it, dude. Like, you got to fix this now. And so and then it's like the weight of the water is pushing out the pump. And I mean, at the time I was like, I'm 180 pounds trying to push the lid down.
Yeah.
But we got it figured out. It was, I didn't end up ruining anything. And
was this a like fix it right now or drown scenario?
pretty much, dude. I mean, it was pretty sketchy. But
So you couldn't just tap out. You couldn't just tap out.
No, there was no. Because I was working for a guy at the time, and at the time I was like, maybe I'll just call him. But then I'm like, well, he's not even going to be able to get here for probably a couple hours. Like, and he's just going to tell me, you're an idiot. Yeah. So I'm like,
Yeah.
let's just take a breath and figure it out. And that was a clinch moment for me early on.
Yeah. Well, thanks for the share. And to all the listeners or viewers out there, the good thing about this is John already learned that lesson and has taught it to all his techs.
Exactly.
And that's not something that you need to worry about in the future related to desert pull techs. With that said, you alluded to you were working for someone else at the time, so it sounds like there's a story about how you got started on your own. A lot of our listeners are entrepreneurs or people who are working in a job right now and they're thinking about going off on their own to start their own thing. So if you could share a little bit about that story of that transition time, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. I was working. So what, I mean, I'll back up a little bit. Just whenever we moved out here, my wife and I were both working. We moved out here actually for a ministry position for a church plant, and I was working, right? And my wife was working, and then I was just kind of looking at things, and we had no kids, we had good money, and I was like, man, if I'm going to do anything, you know, in life to have long term, like now's the time to do it. And starting a business was kind of that thing that just kind of kept coming back in my mind. I was working at Discount Tire, so I quit there and I bounced around to a few different industries, landed in the pool industry. A guy hired me, trained me for a while, kind of turned me loose. And then, I mean, dude, just like anything else, like, I mean, I literally, I guess, started at the bottom, as they say, and had to learn every step of the way. Um, and then there was just, so the guy that I originally was working for, things just weren't working out with him. So we kind of parted ways amicably. And then I was working for another guy. And I really feel like it was kind of the Lord just, making things more and more uncomfortable along the way. Because I just felt like the right thing to do, like what I was supposed to do was start my own company. I mean, it was just one of those things, and I mean, I guess the real like springboard for me was at one point I was kind of running from it more than I was like praying about it, because I just knew it was going to be probably the hardest thing I'd ever done. I mean, I knew it was going to be a lot of hard work. I just knew it,
Yeah.
and I didn't really want to work that hard. So, but I remember I was reading my Bible, and there's a verse that actually I've got it on our logo because I mean, that's the origin story, man. It's a verse in Exodus about the children of Israel. They're leaving Egypt. They cross through the Red Sea. They come to Mara where the waters are bitter. Moses heals the waters, and then after the bitter waters, they come to a place. It's an oasis. It's called Elam in the desert. And I don't know. I don't know. That was just the vision that the Lord kind of gave me at that time. And I was like, fine, I can't deny it. I can't run from it. Like, let's do it. And then that second guy that I was working for, I texted him and I was like, dude, I gotta go, man. I gotta quit. I gotta pull the trigger on this. So yeah, it was a big step of faith.
Wow. So Moses healing the bitter waters, and now on the regular, you're healing the waters. It sounds like you're probably treating the pool, cleaning the pool, servicing the pool,
Yeah.
keeping the water good. So I totally see that. When you say the verse is in your logo, um, I kind of want to pull it up real quick.
Yeah, if you pull it up, it's right, like it's the sunset with the palm tree on like a little hill, and like right in the hill is the reference there to that passage. It's Exodus, what is it, 15:22 to 27.
Okay, Exodus 15:22 to 27. I like it. I'm gonna put that in the show notes for everyone to read.
Nice.
Because I think it's probably the most profound thing that will come of this podcast. I don't think either of us are going to outdo whatever is in there. I don't have it memorized.
Facts, bro.
So
Facts. Yeah.
if you're short on time and go to that part for sure. Scroll down to the show notes and read that if not anything else.
It's a good story.
Yeah, thanks for the story there. And then, whenever you sent that text, sounds like you'd recognize you were running from it. you needed to do it, didn't want to work that hard. Would you say it was harder than you anticipated, even though you thought it was going to be hard work? Or was it because you had this idea of how hard it was going to be? Was it about comparable to what you anticipated?
I think it was harder than I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been, dude, it's been a lot, man. I mean, it's probably been one of the hardest things I've ever done. I mean, quite
Yeah.
honestly. Because I mean, you got to think like, and I think we'll talk about this later on, but like, dude, my background is in, like, I went to seminary.
Yeah.
I mean, I worked at Discount Tire to pay my way through seminary. Like, I don't have a business background. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even have an accredited degree. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, my seminary degree is not even accredited. So it's like, you know, just, dude, hard knocks, like literally
Yeah.
every step of the way, just figuring it out. And
Mm-hmm.
luckily,
Yeah.
God's made me. I do enjoy learning new things.
Yeah.
So that's probably the one thing I had going for me. But
Yeah. I like that too. I can relate. I like learning. It's kind of I can even get lost in the learning. Like sometimes I'm
right,
enjoying learning so much I can indulge in the learning rather than the work at times, I feel like. Um
yeah,
and that's like I'll pick my head up and be like, oh wow, I learned a lot the last 2 hours, but now I need to match that with 2 hours of action. Um, so I hear you on the liking to learn, and just from my perspective, I try to provide a little value and a little story. Um, try to make sure I match all my learning with some doing, and that's the beautiful thing about business. Usually, we're learning about something we have to solve, and we get to apply it right away, and that kind of ingrains it in. Uh, for me,
yeah, for
yeah.
sure,
The
man.
the so the first year you were, what year was this that you sent that text and decided to go off on your own?
Um, that was so we I got my articles of organization, like my LLC was 2015, October 7th, 2015.
Okay.
So this October will be like officially 10 years that
Okay.
we'd be in business. So that
So,
text probably went out, I mean, somewhere in like September, August or September,
yeah.
something like that. But
Yeah. So in business, 10 years coming up. I'm just behind you a bit. I started working in digital marketing in 2016. So think for me, September of this year will officially be nine full years for me.
yeah,
So I want to say congratulations to you on coming up on a
thanks.
decade. I gotta wait another year
Crazy.
and a half almost until I can cross that one off, God willing.
You'll get there. Yeah,
Oh,
you'll get
thanks.
there, man.
And then so 5 years in business before you won the Best of the Valley award. So did you win it the first year you were nominated, or were you nominated for a couple years prior?
So the best of the Valley it was pretty obscure. I mean, it's only been 5 years, and it is a really prestigious thing. But in terms of the pool industry, like, yeah, there is a lot of competition in the pool industry, but when it comes to pool companies, competing for that award, there
Mm-hmm.
was very little competition.
Yeah.
And so, and it was kind of one of those things, like in the beginning, I'm like, I'm looking for every advantage I can find, right? I'm exhausting every possible resource. Like I'm networking, I'm Chamber of Commerce, so like just one day I'm on the internet and I'm like, what's this Best of the Valley thing? And I just thought it was some stupid thing. I was like, it's just some fake stupid thing that nobody's ever going to know about. And so the first year I was like, I mean, I got nothing to lose, right? So
Yeah.
I did it, and I started kind of putting myself out there for votes and stuff. And dude, we won. I was like, okay, that's
Oh,
cool. Yeah. And I was
epic.
like, no biggie. Right. And then the second year I was like, we did it last year. Let's do it again. And I won it again. And then about that third year is when like it kind of started getting traction and people
Mm-hmm.
started realizing like, oh, wait a minute. Like, and then when people began to notice that I was winning, that's when it really showed me like, wait, this is actually something that's like super credible. Like this is
Mm-hmm.
legit.
Yeah.
And so then I really doubled down. So that third year, I was like super committed. And then obviously every year since then, it's been, so it's interesting because like whenever you go to vote, right, you'll look at the category. I think that first year, I don't even think there was a single other pool company in the category that had been nominated.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't even a single other nomination. Every single year since then, there are more and more and more companies in that category that are fighting for that title, right? Essentially. So
Yeah.
this year, there were 10 other companies in that category. Last year, I think there were like 6 or 7. The year before that, like 5 or 6. So you see, like, it just kind of began to grow. So, but yeah, I mean, we're just blessed, man. I mean, I think the fact that we've won it the last few years, obviously we've got that momentum going for us. But yeah, in the beginning, I was like just finding, trying to find stuff, like I said, to have, to have a leg up and
Yeah.
get ahead of the pack, and it worked out. So
That's awesome. Yeah. See, when you first won it, it was almost like a participation trophy, and then it got more and more competitive year after year, which isn't surprising with the boom of development in the valley and how much commerce is going on there. So it's awesome that you've been able to defend the title.
yeah,
So
it's
you
been
got
fun.
you have the belt, and you're defending. That's way harder to defend it, I've heard. When it comes to sports, and uh, you know, harder to win back-to-backs than it is to win the first one, so they say.
Yeah.
And I've heard in the fighting world, it's harder to defend the belt oftentimes than it is to win it. Maybe not if when it comes to the judges and things like that. I've heard it's a little easier to hang on, but anyways, still an accomplishment and
Thanks.
great work. I gotta say the most questions I've been getting from some of the viewers of the podcast. Sometimes I have people, I'll pull my audience and say, hey, what questions do you want me to ask more of? And it's centered around hiring. So it's seems to be a lot of people earlier in their journey, small team, 1, 2, or 3 people, and they're curious to know from people who are more experienced like yourself. What was it like to take on your first employees? How was that process? And if there's any you know insight that you can share with someone newer on their journey, um, about how to do that, not just in a way that's going to benefit them and their business, but provide a good working scenario for the employee, a good service to the customer. You know, Me personally, I kind of always take a look at things, and if I hire someone and they're not performing well, I'm just like, oh well, I either hired the wrong person or I didn't give them the tools to succeed, and that's been my way of navigating it. So, would love to hear what you've came up with, or how you've decided to grow your business this way and continue success.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, 10 years, I've hired, dude, everybody. I mean, I've hired, so many different people, I guess, in
Hmm.
terms of quality and walks of life. What my first ever employee,
Hmm.
I was very adamant that I wanted someone with a restaurant service background.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I got. And quite honestly, my first ever employee was probably, I mean, to this day, he's probably one of the best employees I think I've ever had.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I was fortunate that way. He was just a super chill, easygoing guy. He worked at a restaurant for, 14 years. He only ended up working for me for about 2.5 years,
Hmm.
and then kind of split, went a different direction, and it was on good terms. But my whole philosophy was like, as a pool guy, like I was a pool guy, right? I know how pool guys think.
Hmm.
Pool guys who have been pool guys for like a long period of time working for other companies, their whole mindset is like fast, speed, 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 speed. How fast, how many pools can I cram into like 1 hour? How fast, 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 and then whenever I begin to look at what are the primary, like the highest volume of complaints, like what's the number one complaint from customers? And that is my pool guy's not in my backyard long enough. And so it's like you see the two things. And the reason why that pool guys want to go fast, fast, fast is because of the way the industry paid them. So
Hmm.
they were looking at it as like, oh, this is a loophole in the system. The more pools I do, the more I get paid.
Yeah.
So my philosophy from day one has always been W-2 employees. I am paying you for your time. And that is what our customers are paying us for. Like I want you in the backyard 20 minutes a stop, 15 minutes a stop. And to encourage them and to kind of incentivize them to do that, obviously I'm paying them, the longer that you're at a pool, like the more hours you're going to get, like the more you're going to get paid. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so now, don't get me wrong. There was a time in the 10 years that we've been in business where I was paying guys like the other way to get more pools done just because of
Mhm.
I was doing other things. We kind of branched off into doing remodels and I got some contractor licensing. So it was kind of like, a necessary evil in a
Mhm.
sense where I was like, you guys just take care of this. I don't care. I'll pay you whatever. Take care of it. Make the pools clean, while I was doing
Yeah.
these other things.
Uh-huh.
But now that we've kind of gotten to where we are now, like I've got a shop, I've got a warehouse, we've got trucks, we've got things like I'm gravitating back towards that W-2 hourly payroll. So two of the employees that I have right now, their background is in restaurant and they're just phenomenal. I mean, they're the type of guys that are like, yes, sir, no, sir. Like I tell them what to do and they're like, I'm on it.
Yeah.
Whereas a couple other guys that I have are like the pool industry guys. They've been in the industry for 5 or 6 years and I ask them to do something, they're like, "Oh, that's not worth my time." And I'm like, "Dude, I'm paying you by the hour. Like, what do you mean? Like, your drive time, I'm paying you for windshield time in the AC truck. Like, what's the
Yeah.
problem?" So that's just kind of a thumbnail kind of sketch as
Can I
to,
can I ask one question about
yeah,
what
go
you
ahead.
shared there? Just I don't want to forget. And so the restaurant thing, I just got to say, like, was that something a mentor or a business coach or something shared with you, or you just were like, I like people who work at restaurants. That's something you observed. You're on your own. That's so
It's just
unique.
something I observed, man. Like, I like to go out to eat. Like, I
Hmm.
think maybe that's where, I mean, if I really had to drill down and figure out where it originated, like, I like to go out to eat because I work my butt off and I want to be served. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when I go
Yeah.
to a restaurant and I can, like, this guy gets customer service, like, I'm going to give him a fat tip.
Yeah.
And so I think I just kind of made that connection as to like, man, if I could hire somebody that understands customer service, from a like a waiter type standpoint. I
Yeah.
mean, it's kind of a concierge. I mean, a good waiter it's a full concierge of service. You know what I'm saying? Like they're getting your
Yeah.
drinks, they're getting your silverware, they're getting your food. Is it hot?
Hmm.
Is it more chips? Whatever. And it's like it's just true customer service,
Yeah.
and that's what I wanted. So it's like
Yeah.
it's hard to teach people customer service, but it's not hard to teach people how to clean a pool, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was kind
Gotcha.
of the thing in my mind was I was like, dude, I'll teach anybody. I can teach a monkey how to clean a pool, but I can't always teach people how to have customer service. So
Yeah.
yeah, it just kind of
That makes
clicked. And then,
that
yeah,
makes sense. So what you're describing is like hospitality in a sense. Like, yeah, it's restaurant, it's customer service, but like the what I'm hearing in my mind is very similar to another client, past client of mine. Um, we built a website for them, and they talk a lot about the book Unreasonable Hospitality. Have you heard of this one?
no, I'm writing it down right now though. I'm going to
Cool.
type it out.
It's jumped up on a couple different I ask sometimes people rapid fire questions at the end, like favorite business book. That one has been shouted out a number of times, and it kind of gets woven into some like movies and some other like series and stuff. They're doing a good job of marketing their book because I've seen it pop up a number of places
I'm going
organically.
to
But
look it
yeah,
up.
so that book's kind of cool. And yeah, I just wanted to dig into like that restaurant theme. Like my family had a deli when I was growing up. My mom had a catering business. We sold snow cones at all the parks, and not all of them, at like 3 to 5 parks in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in the summers growing up. So that was a lot of fun to be around this
Yeah.
business that's feeding and nurturing the community. Um, and so I get it. Like I could evaluate someone's, like if they worked in the food business, I could have a conversation with them about how they navigated that and translate that into kind of qualifying them. So I see your interest in dining out and getting served after a hard day's work, that gives you a good way to evaluate someone based on how they answer questions about their prior career and stuff. So it makes perfect sense. And the I'm looking at some questions I had laid out here. The it's like, would you say there was like a breakthrough moment where you were like, "Oh, this I'm gonna make this work"? Because you said how hard it was. So I think all business owners have these moments of like, "Is this gonna work?" And then there's moments of like, "Oh wow, I can make this happen." There's probably more than one of those, but if you have one that shines through, maybe you could share it.
I think, yeah, I mean, I can share one, but ultimately, dude, it's been dozens of those moments over and over and over again, you know, over and over and over. But
Yeah.
I'll say the biggest as of recently is winning Best of the Valley in 5 years for 5 years.
Hmm.
The other one was being able to get a physical location. I have a shop now. I have a warehouse. I got an empty office next door that I'm honestly fixing to move my gym over. So like I'm gonna
Oh,
have my
cool.
gym, bro, next door. Literally walk in the next room, hit the weights, come back in, kind of do my thing. So, and then I got a warehouse right next here. It's just something about having that physical location, you know. And then I think also it's a big deal to make it 10 years, man. I mean, you know,
Totally.
starting out, everybody talks about statistics of like 90% fail in 5 years. And then of the 10 that succeed, you know, 30 or 50% fail before 10. And it's like, I mean, if I've made it 10 years, like, dude, I think we're going to be here. I mean, Lord willing, forever. I mean, that's the goal. But I
Yeah.
think, yeah, the best of the valley for the fifth time, getting a physical location, those two things, I mean, really are just like, man, I kind of feel like I'm starting all over in a sense, you know,
Yeah.
and it's cool.
The physical location, is that somewhere customers come? Do you sell stuff there as well, or is it just for your team and your equipment and all that good stuff?
For now, it's really just for us. I mean, I think at
Hmm.
some point, I mean, we could set it up for customers to come in. I've had customers come in, although I don't advertise for that.
Yeah.
And then when they do, I'm just like, what do I do? You know, like call the office. Well, I'm at the office, so I'm like, we just don't have a system for that yet, you know. But
Gotcha. Yeah.
eventually, it wouldn't be a bad.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I know. We have a pool guy at our family's house in Phoenix, and you know, we they also every once in a while, like something's going on, and maybe they could pick up the phone and they'd have to pay a little extra, or maybe they can't get in, but someone in the family will be going to grab something to like get ready for the barbecue or something. So I didn't know if y'all sold things at your location. If you did, I wanted to let the viewers, the listeners, know where to go, but that's down the road,
It's
coming
down the road.
soon.
It's yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the we talked about the horror stories, the breakthroughs, the wins. Um, Now you just talked about your physical location and how you're going to set up your gym next door. I feel like that it's a good time to weave into like work life balance. I didn't mention this at the beginning of the show. Sometimes I'll talk about how I met someone, and you know, work life balance, I think, is something we can relate to because I think we met probably at 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning at Gray Wolf Jiu Jitsu. Actually, I don't even know if I'm allowed to call it
Yep.
that anymore.
Not
Aries
on
Thunderbird.
internet. I don't, yeah, Aries PV.
Uh-huh. With old the OG Gray Wolf location.
OG.
But
Yeah.
anyways, so we met at jujitsu class, and myself, I'd say I got into that to navigate work life balance, have an outlet to move my body, to um I've exercised and been an athlete all my life, but never did any combat. So that for me was like getting out of my comfort zone. Like I knew it was an edge for me. I've never been a fighter, didn't really get in fights growing up, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna put myself out there. I got invited by my friend Jesse to go to class, and I was like, all right, yeah, I'll see you there. He went to my first few classes with me, and it was off to the races for about 2 months at what I'll call Gray Wolf. Um, but that's where we met, and So how about you? So work-life balance. I know you're doing jujitsu. Is that something you're still actively doing? I know you mentioned your weight room that you're going to set up next door. How's work-life balance these days?
Work-life balance has always been a battle, and I will say for a long time there was no balance. I mean,
Mm,
probably for the first 7, 8 years, dude, like there was no
yeah.
balance. I mean, especially early on, like I was working two jobs. Like I was working a night job, to because so once I started the company, um, it all kind of happened so fast. Like we really started the company. We bought a house. My wife got pregnant, like all within the first couple of years. And so, that was all my motivators to like, dude, my fitness and my health at this point are back burner. Like I gotta provide, like I gotta make bread, and
Yeah.
it was me working nights, me working days, and doing what I had to do. So obviously because of that, like I got up to like 215 pounds. Like I was not
Hmm.
healthy. Whereas in college, like I was always the sports guy, baseball, football, like that was who I was.
Hmm.
Um, Going to start jujitsu was a huge step for me to get back into that and try to prioritize that balance. So like I really started in 2000, I think it was 2020, where I was
Hmm.
like, all right, I got to control what I can control, right? So I changed my diet up like really hardcore, and that was where it started, to kind of get back on the horse of like a work-life balance and like my health. And then
Yeah.
I did that for a couple years, and then I did start into jujitsu. I think it's been like 3.5 years ago now. And then
Okay.
jujitsu, I really started jujitsu to make me work out because I was like, it was hard to get the motivation to work out. And so
Hmm.
I was like, if I'm going in every day fighting dudes, like I know I'm going to be working out at home to be able to go compete, you know what I'm saying, with
Yeah.
these guys.
Hmm.
And so it all just kind of came together that way. And yeah, no, still doing jujitsu. I went twice this week. Got my
Nice.
blue belt recently, and I love it, dude. I love those guys. I feel bad for them sometimes because I take all my stress and anger out on them. Like all my anger at my employees or any other circumstances in life. Like I go in and just probably just try to smash. But
Yeah.
jujitsu is not quite the best, but. Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of where, again, like starting over and having the shop and moving the gym here. Like my gym's been outside my house, which has been fine, but it's just not the best case scenario. Um, and it's just, I don't know, yeah, being able to now be working out of an office and not always being drugged back into the field, it's just more stable, to
Yeah.
be able to kind of set that up that way. So
Hmm.
it's been another
Totally.
fight. I mean, it's been a fight in and of itself. So
Yeah. Well, thanks for the share there. I gotta give you some props too. I can definitely say I've been the victim of some of that smashing. Whenever I first came to roll, you know, all types of different people, walks of life, and I'm just learning my way around. And I remember I felt like I had some safe positions to rest in, and I have a vivid memory of like one time me and you were rolling, and I thought I got to this position that I usually get to take a rest in, and then I just ended up like I think 4 feet on the other side of the mat somehow, like upside down on my neck. And I was
oh
like,
no.
"Oh, all right, noted. That's not a rest position with John. Cool."
I mean,
um,
I'm trying to change some of that also, but
oh, it's
yeah,
nuts. I mean, I'm there for it. So
yeah,
it was a highlight of my day.
yeah,
It probably got me to the gym that night, kind of like you said. If you're rolling around fighting, get push you
yeah.
to train. So that's how I look at it too. And then you kind of mentioning, there wasn't work life balance. I've been leaning into this concept of like, yeah, like I feel like balance gives not the connotation that I want to say. It's just like a term people throw around.
Yeah,
But um, I'm calling it work life harmony these days because it's not
I
equal
like that.
time. I'm not looking for equal parts.
Yeah,
Just harmony, just having harmony with life. Like whenever you were needing to show up as the provider and needing to do multiple things to provide the way you wanted, that was providing you harmony at home. It sounds like
yeah, it
or
was.
providing harmony to your family, to your life. And that's the way I'm approaching it. Before we turned on the cameras here, I kind of talked a little bit about, spending time in my hometown, Pittsburgh, with my family, spending time in Phoenix with my wife's family. And then we're in Hawaii now. We've been here since January. So it'll be 6 months in Hawaii this year. And it's kind of like, other years it was most of the year in Phoenix and Pittsburgh, a lot going on with family. And this year we were able to kick off the year doing something that we wanted for us. And it's just not always that way. So balance might not always be what it is. It's more what feels in harmony and supportive to our goals at the time.
Dude, I love that. I'm gonna steal that harmony.
Go for it. The other one that's been I've been including in my prayers a lot lately is I pray for either productivity and peace or peaceful productivity. I feel
That's
like I
cool.
can get a little intense sometimes, but if I can maintain like a peacefulness inside of me, or at least if I have to, you know, really push it, if I can remain at peace in some way, it usually has me express myself and show up in a way that I'm more proud of, and the character that I want to put out into the world shows up whenever I'm at a state of peace, rather than
Yeah.
in a state of toil per se.
Right. Right. No, that's good stuff, man.
No. But we got some rapid fire questions here to close it out. Um so we got best business book you've read or advice that you've got from a mentor. So feel free to answer both, or if you just got one that sticks out.
Yeah, I'll answer both. Best piece of business advice, a mentor that I really respected. He lives in Houston, Texas, where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
He told me early on, work a full 8 hours. He said, no matter, because in the beginning, you don't have 8 hours of work to do,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, I don't care, like whatever, because he had started his own business in a different industry. And he was like, that was one thing that someone told him, and he passed that on to me.
Mm.
And I think that's probably been, I mean, really just something I've carried with me. It's like, because
Yep.
even at times where maybe things are easier and I'm staffed up and I could take an easy day, and I just hear that in my head, like, dude, work a full 8 hours no matter what. And that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of been, I mean, that's been one thing that's carried with me. Now, in terms of books, I've had books that have carried me through the 10 years. Extreme Ownership, basically anything by Jocko Willink early
Yep.
on was stuff
Yep.
that I was really into. Jocko,
Mm-hmm.
he's the man, right?
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. And then recently, I'll say these two books really, really changed a lot of my perspective in being able to transition into like more of an owner employer role. Who Not How and Ego is the Enemy.
Okay. I haven't heard of Who
Both
Not How.
excellent book, excellent book. Both one thing that I'm really big on patterns. Like I see patterns. And one of the things that I really began to realize is I am driving away good workers because of my inability to let them do the job that I have personally done for so many years,
Yep.
right? And all of that really, a lot of that is ego. A lot of it is ego because they come in and I'm like, well, I got to show to them that I'm better and I can do it better. And it's just ego. It's stupid. It's ego. And it's self-sabotaging. And then the who not how is, whenever I'm sitting here at a roadblock and I'm trying to figure out how to get through this roadblock, like in the beginning, I would sit down and be like, all right, fine, something else to learn. I like learning, so I'm going to learn how to do this myself. Well,
Mm-hmm.
inevitably, I would do it, at maybe 60, 70% ability or
Yep.
excellence, I should say. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
if I were to just hire someone who could have done it at 100% excellence, I mean, it would have been better for everybody.
Yeah.
And so those two books, I've read them long time ago, and they just never resonated with me because it wasn't the time for them. But I think last year I read them both and blew me away, dude. Those books just blew me away. So
Thanks for the share. I got them both
yeah,
noted here. Ego is the Enemy. I've read parts of it, never completed it. It's definitely stuff I like, kind of the stoicism stuff. Um, I think is it Ryan Holiday?
yeah,
Maybe.
yeah,
Yep.
I think so.
So next question, your morning routine, first 5 minutes of your day. I feel like some people could have these excessive morning routines. I'll go share mine. I try to, no matter what time I wake up, it's usually before my wife, give her a hug, tell her I love her, say a little prayer to start the day, and drink some water, and who knows what's next. I don't have a specific activity, but I usually move around. How about you? Start the day.
I mean, first and last thing I do every day is self-talk, which I mean, you can put that under the category of prayer,
Hmm.
self-talk and prayer. And I just try to be intentional about remembering the happy things from the day, the positive things from the day.
Yeah.
Um, Now I am in a really crazy transition time because of the warehouse and some things that we've been making some really big pushes in the company. So my morning routine, aside from the positive self-talk and
Hmm.
prayer, has been really out the window. But when things are going like the way I want, Monday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Friday, dude, I'm up at 4 o'clock or
Yeah.
4:30, and I go to Grey Wolf. I go to the gym. We go to jujitsu.
Yeah.
Tuesday, Thursday, I kind of have easy days. I go out, I get a coffee, I sit on the patio and just kind of read, my Bible a little bit and have some more of that kind of meditative time. My wife will sit
Hmm.
with me sometimes. And so that is kind of my key to success or whatever. What I've seen most successful is kind of that pattern.
Nice. Well, thanks for the share there. Um, for today, I want to say thanks a lot for coming on the show. If there's anything you wanted to share with the listeners or speak out, um, by all means, the floor is yours. And if there's no specific message, you know, let people know the best way to get a hold of you or your business, depending on how you want the call to action to be there for the listeners.
Yeah, I think, in terms of how to get a hold of me, our office number, it's 480
Hmm.
658 3277. Info at desertpooltech.com. Desertpooltech.com is the
Hmm.
website, our website. And, anything else I think I could say, it's just something that I've really learned is just, I feel like people in general need to be better at projecting their maybe issues or their self image onto others.
Hmm.
I feel like everybody's looking for a mentor.
Hmm.
And it's like when you think you see a guy that's like, because this happened to me, and it's like even one of my mentors, like he came into the warehouse and sat down with me, and it was just this amazing opportunity where I was like, being an encouragement to him. And even like right before this phone call, um, or right before this meeting, a guy called me that he saw me on Facebook and he trained me years ago, and he's, asking, and it's like, I don't know. People always have problems. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Yeah.
if we just be more patient and gracious with people, and like even at Grey Wolf, like I said, smashing dudes, like it's never as personal as we think. And that's what I've been learning for myself personally.
Yeah.
So maybe as a good closeout, that's something that I'm kind of learning and growing in. Uh, yeah, but man, I really appreciate the opportunity. I really respect you as a rolling partner and as a business owner. And I really appreciate you reaching out to me to kind of invite me on this. And I like what you're doing here, man. So
Oh,
it's awesome.
appreciate that, John. I gotta say, I appreciate you as a rolling partner as well. And 10 years in business, bro. You're an inspiration to me, and it's uh, it's something I'll be excited to give you a call next year when I hit that mark. Be like, yo, remember the podcast? It's been 10.
Heck yeah, dude. Heck yeah. Love it, man.